Yo, what is going on? I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hey, second attempt with the countdown. Hopefully, it went a little smoother this time. But hey, as always, I'm Marcus, and we are doing some attorney reactions to about 5 stories that I've seen in the news. The last 3 or 4 had maybe 5, all 5. Well, nah, the first one kind of out there, but the last 4 definitely have some commonalities. We're gonna dive in and talk about that. Uh, yeah, I agree. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to AA Legal Focus, who also makes outstanding content related to attorney reactions to trials and other current events. Y'all should definitely go check her out as well. Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate it. People do dumb stuff, but I don't know. We're gonna talk about it. Hey, shout out to Harley D. What is going on? I appreciate you for tuning in as well. Hey, I always got to give the disclaimer first. Hey, licensed attorney, not your attorney. Just my opinion and take on topics. Now, this is interesting. I think the takeaway from this story is we got to be cautious of how we move, be observant, and not put ourselves in a position to be taken advantage of. So I don't want to waste too much time. But I didn't even add the video to the stream, which was ridiculous. All right, let me go ahead and get this on the screen. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. First video. Let's dive in.
The former sheriff of Hot Spring County will remain behind bars until he's sentenced. Scott Finkbeiner was under supervised release until a federal judge revoked that privilege today.
Now I know y'all thinking, why is the sheriff in federal custody? What is going on? It's crazy.
He was arrested Friday and appeared in court this morning. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Fox 16 News at 6:30. I'm Kevin Kelly.
I'm Donna Terrell. Neil Zarang joins us from outside the federal courthouse in Hot Spring County to explain why the former sheriff is back in court.
back in court.
Today's hearing was held over an alleged phone call Finkbeiner made just 8 days after he signed his plea deal. Federal prosecutors said that violated the conditions of his supervised release until sentencing. The defense disagreed. When Sheriff Scott Finkbeiner signed a plea deal and resigned from his position on Valentine's Day, Judge Susan Hickey warned that if he spoke to anyone, she would put him back in custody. Judge Barry Bryant fulfilled that promise.
We respectfully disagree with that.
Defense attorney Jeff Rosenzweig says he will appeal the decision, claiming Finkbeiner mistakenly believed he was in the clear to contact any potential witnesses after the plea deal.
That actually makes no sense. There's absolutely no reason. I don't even understand, like, real if you have a client, your client enters into a plea agreement, what would make you think that you have the ability to be able to contact people who were witnesses against you? That actually makes no sense. And if his attorney is arguing that, I actually think that it makes the attorney look even dumber than he already looks, because it's your job as an attorney to make sure that your client understands the do's and don'ts of his conditions of being on probation. Something this ridiculous is actually egregious, and either the attorney failed or the client was extremely stupid. From what we hear based on this news story, I think the attorney was extremely stupid if this is the argument that his client was of the belief that he could actually contact witnesses. That actually makes no damn sense, and it goes to show how terrible his attorney is.
He believed that because any charges involving this witness had been dropped, but he was made to understand that the better idea was to stay off grid completely, and he's followed that for some 2.5 months.
Federal prosecutors convinced Judge Bryant there was no mistake because Finkbeiner attempted to make the call with the Signal app, which is notorious for being untraceable.
Yeah, God, it's nothing about this story that adds up to make me believe that everybody here knew that he wasn't supposed to be contacting witnesses. Witnesses, come on. There's like, I don't know. I think this is absolutely stupid. The fact that he used Signal actually goes to him actually knowing that he wasn't supposed to do this, and this was some attempt to be I guess secretive, not to get caught doing it. Dumb client, dumber attorney, in my personal opinion.
They also showed the judge a statement and messages from a third party allegedly coordinating a call to be made and a screenshot of the incoming call to the witness's phone, but admitted the call was never answered.
So we think that the circumstances required merely strict admonition, which is, as the judge said, what the probation office wanted to do.
Judge Bryant said he only learned of the attempted phone call on May 1st. Had he heard of it when it happened, he would have signed an arrest warrant then. Because of previous witness tampering indictments, the judge concluded he had zero confidence Finkbeiner would comply with conditions of release, which is why he will remain held.
We have the right to appeal this to Judge Hickey, and we will be doing so.
There's no date for sentencing yet, but the judge says that typically it's about 2 to 4 months out from this point. Rosenzweig said because of the incarceration of Finkbeiner, that date may be sped up.
He need to go sit down. If I'm the judge, I'm having him to go sit down. I'm not dealing with anyone if I'm a judge on a trial, don't mess with my witnesses. If you're bold enough to contact a witness, you might be bold enough to threaten a witness. You might be bold enough to whip a witness ass. You might be bold enough to do anything. I damn sure wouldn't want to be the judge with something like that, like just hanging over my head. But I thought this story was interesting. I thought it was interesting because the attorney is actually foolish. His argument is probably one of the most ridiculous arguments that I heard. Right. Like, I was just trying to contact them, but I did so by trying to disguise my attempt to contact them, hoping that it would be untraceable. I don't know. The judge actually got this one right. You contact witnesses, you should be held until the sentencing for this tampering charge that you're about to get. And shame on the attorney if his rationale is the guy didn't know he couldn't contact witnesses because the charges that witness was going to testify to were dismissed. I don't know. Is given that making sense? What's up, Bernie? I appreciate you tuning in as well. Is given that making sense at all? Now, this next story is a little bit more interesting. I don't know. Like, how comfortable of you all? You all got children. Y'all got people. Y'all like. If your kid or somebody you love go away to college, like, are you concerned about their roommate situation? Like, oh man, like, all right, my daughter's going to college. She's going to have a roommate for her first year. Like, hopefully that person isn't crazy, a bad influence. You kind of think about those things, but, and I know this isn't a guarantee, but you don't think about those things. For me, I don't think about those things as serious. I mean, I think about them, but I don't think about them potentially being as bad because generally, when two people are in a college dorm, everybody kind of on equal footing. Like it could be a one-off where like, you know, an 18-year-old college student is in there with a 24-year-old college student. But generally, I don't know, maybe this was just during my time. They actually tried to make attempts to match people up who may be from the same area, may have some type of common interest. So there's concern because people crazy as hell, to include young people a lot of times, but there's less concern because my thought is, okay, my son goes away to college. He's a freshman. He's going to be paired with another freshman. They're on equal footing. So, you know, if some crazy shit, stop, put it down. Place. Oh, I hate ass dog. But you know, if something go down, they're on equal footing. So you know, it'll be a squab fest. Maybe each person got some tools. You think of it as less serious. But what about if your child is going away, your daughter, because I think it makes it a little bit more sensitive. Your daughter is going away, staying off campus, and they're staying off campus with a complete stranger. So you don't have that attempted pairing of people who may have like backgrounds or interests or majors or anything like that. This next story is actually crazy. I can't imagine. I don't know. I wouldn't sign off on my daughter being in this situation. Y'all let me know what I think. Am I being the overprotected dad in this situation?
Police are saying she was stabbed dozens of times, and her family says she was just days away from graduating.
So sad. Chester Grant is accused of killing Elizabeth Odunsi at an apartment complex on Goforth Street near Cullen Boulevard.
All right. Now, let's take it. As a matter of fact, let it play for a while.
Residents who live there say they were roommates but did not know each other.
All right. They were roommates. Let's rewind this back real quick. This young lady right here, I don't know. If I looked at her and had to guess, I would say 21-ish, somewhere around that. Then we're going to fast forward it. This guy right here. Definitely, this dude actually looked older than me, and I'm in my 40s. This dude actually looked older than me. So they're roommates. Now, of course, I know y'all had questions, but as soon as I heard they were roommates, it's already given. Why the fuck? I mean, why is this young lady roommates with this older looking gentleman? It's already not sitting right with me.
And her family says she was just days away from graduating.
So sad. Chester Grant is accused of killing Elizabeth Odunsi at an apartment complex on Goforth Street near Cullen Boulevard. Residents who live there say they were roommates but did not know each other before they moved in.
ABC 13's Micah Hatfield is reporting live downtown. And Micah, what are investigators revealing to you about this case?
Well, first of all, Chester Grant is still in custody tonight. These two lived in an apartment building that was off-site student housing. They paired roommates randomly, we're told.
Absolutely the worst. Absolutely the worst. There is no way I would. I'm gonna be honest, like I don't know, like it's a little bit different with your son. I wouldn't be too happy about my son being in off-campus housing that's not uh that's not distributed by the school. That would actually probably give me a little bit of cause to pause. Even with my son, I'd be like, keep your head on the swivel, boy. But my daughter, off-campus housing, people are paired up at random, is not situated with the school. You hit the nail on the head, bro. This is completely an absolute no-go for me. Low key, I don't even want my this sounds crazy. I wouldn't even want my daughter staying on off-campus housing with some Negro that she actually does know. I'd be like, no, you get your own place. He stay wherever he gonna stay at. Y'all could drive back and forth, but nah, you always need your own shit. So just in case stuff get crazy, you don't got to be around. I don't know. I think this is absolutely crazy. I don't know if it was an affordability thing, but definitely not something that DFD would be amenable to with his babies. We'll just leave it at that.
By people who live in the building. So they ended up a 40-year-old man and a 23-year-old woman living in the same apartment.
43-year-old is, I don't know. Like, I'm just, hey, I don't know her situation. I don't know her financial situation. I don't know her familial situation. But as a father, there's no way that that's acceptable for me. That shit is absolutely not happening. No way, no how, not on my watch. Like, no. Some grown, I'm gonna be honest, it's giving me cause to pause because I don't know what grown ass 40-something-year-old man would want to have a roommate any damn way. A grown ass 40-something-year-old man who at a school, who going to school, who is like, yeah, I'm cool with having a roommate. Nah, that's giving creep vibes just off the break. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but maybe I'm being a little too overprotective. But generally, people ain't shit. And there's no way that this is happening on my watch. I don't care if I got to get another job to drive Uber. I don't care if it's a cost thing. You're not going to be in there with some other grown-ass dude. You're not going to be in there with some dude at all, especially not some 40-something-year-old man. That's actually insane to me. That's crazy as hell.
Sharing common spaces, and they didn't know each other. We've now learned that Grant had a violent criminal past. It's unclear if the victim in this case knew that.
The allegations in this case allege he stabbed his female roommate 28 times, killing her over some disagreement over his cat.
A situation
over a cat. A disagreement over a cat. This guy had a history. Like, I don't know who she told about her living situation. And I would like to think that she told somebody, like mom, dad, cousin, like, hey, I'm staying with this 40-year-old old ass Negro. Like, that's something you should let somebody know. In this day and age, you can Google people, you can do criminal background search, you can do like low key. I would have been doing all of that shit. It just wouldn't have been my offspring. But over a cat makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't strike me that this dude, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not trying, hey, a stereotype is a stereotype, but a 40-something-year-old man who is in college and living with a roommate is I'm thinking they crazy off the break. There's no way in fucking hell. I low-key don't even, I did a video on going back to school, taking classes. I don't even want to be in a classroom with a bunch of 19-year-olds. I was like, nah, I need to find some way where I can do this shit online, because I don't want to sit in the classroom. So I don't know. I think all the red flags, just for me, I'm a little bit different. I've been in the criminal justice system. I don't know what their background is, but it's given hella red flags. And it's a fucking cat. Like a cat, I don't know. A grown ass guy with a cat is weird too. But hey, some of y'all might be cat people. But I don't know. That's is all this shit is looking bad.
28 times, killing her over some disagreement over his cat.
A situation the magistrate referred to as brutal. 23-year-old Elizabeth Odunsi, found by police, stabbed to death on April 26th in the kitchen she shared with her roommate, Chester Grant, police say. Notice the bandages on Grant's neck in his mugshot. During the welfare check, they also found Grant in his bedroom with several stab wounds that investigators believe could have been self-inflicted. Both were said to be students. She was set to graduate from Texas Women's University with a nursing degree last Sunday, and he was a student at Fordham University, according to a court hearing. People who also live in this off-campus student housing say the police were out there the previous night for a fight between the two.
God damn. So this clearly wasn't the first instance of an altercation out there the night before. Like, yeah, I would do whatever I need to do to get my child. And I don't know what support system she had, but like, it's actually terrible. This young lady had her entire life in front of her, and it was taken away by this dumbass guy for no reason. I don't even know if he was in fact in school. It says according to court reports, but court reports are actually a lot of times full of shit. You know how many times I had client and I'll be like, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. I go to local community college. I got a job I'm starting next week. I'm like, man, you ain't got shit. You ain't got none of that stuff. Can you give me some proof of it? Absolutely nothing. Honestly, we don't even know if it's off-campus housing. I don't know. I don't know the details. But if it's off-campus housing and the school isn't associated with this at all, you don't even know what methods that the apartment complex has for being able to confirm that somebody is or isn't a student. Like, this guy legitimately could have just been like, oh, I want someplace cheap to stay and I want to be somewhere with a potential victim. That shit is a possibility. Hey, it's not. Hey, cats are cool. They just too damn independent for me. See, when my dog was acting up, I told him to place. He looked at me and he looked sad because he knew he messed up. Cats don't give a damn. Let's see. It's terrible, man. I started taking classes next month, and I was gonna go somewhere, and I had to actually physically go, and I was like, I'm not doing that shit. Like I've done that before, taking classes when I was like in my maybe early 30s, and it was cool. They was like, hey, would you like to come to our party, sir? I was like, nah, no, thank you, young man. I'm good. Let's see. Has to be something else. I agree completely. You were older than you were older than your CF Pro professor. Yeah, yeah. Dogs are more emotionally attached. Cats, like, it's actually. I hate to get off topic, but since you're talking about dogs and cats, it's actually I saw like an animal expert and an individual who worked as an EMT. And he talked about when people passed away in their homes. And he said, when people pass away in their homes, if you pass away in your home and you have a cat, the cat is going to start in your face immediately. Like, literally, the minute you pass away in your house, the cat is going to start nibbling on your nose or your chin. He said, people pass away, we go find them, and they have dogs. Dogs will not eat their owners. And if a dog does eat their owner, they won't touch the face. They'll stop down by like the foot or the leg. That goes to tell me that cats ain't shit. Respectfully to all the cat owners out there. Yeah, good. Respectfully to all the cat owners. All right, let's go ahead and finish this story up.
Houston police confirm they've been called out multiple times.
He has multiple arrests and convictions out of Washington for violence, including domestic violence, violating protective order. The most recent is from September 6th of 2023.
The two shared an apartment unit at a building rented by For a Place to Live, where rooms are rented out individually and roommates are randomly paired, according to the company's website. The company notes online that background checks are done, and if they learn something of concern, they ask that person to move into a single unit where they would not share space with someone else. Grant was allowed to live with Odunsi. We reached out to the company to find out why his criminal past didn't raise a red flag, but they did not return our call. In downtown town. Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
That is a crazy story. I think that considering that policy, the family of this decedent may have some actual legal recourse. Because if you have in your policy, hey, we do background checks, and if we find something alarming, that individual has to move into a single unit. Like, so if you did a background check, you would have found that this dude had a history of domestic violence. I'm assuming that domestic violence was against women, and you're going to put this grown ass man in an apartment with a young girl. Like, I don't know. I think there's potential for some legal exposure there for the company, considering that that's their policy, and they violate it. And you are right. People will eat people if there's nothing else. This is true. I mean, hey, this is true. We gotta survive, right? But I think that's crazy. As with all of these stories, if you have children or somebody you actually give a damn about, the moment you identify them in a situation that could potentially pose some type of risk, you have to, like, I would actually rather her have left and stayed in a damn woman's shelter for a week until I figure some shit out to get her out of that situation. If that was my people, if that was my daughter, if that was, my little sister or something to that effect. Again, we don't know. We don't know what her situation was. We don't know what her financial situation was, her support system. But damn, I wish she had somebody she could have called, because that's actually terrible. I hope this guy doesn't see the light of day, and I feel fairly confident he won't, considering the facts as we have them. This next story is right in line with making sure you communicate with people you care about, especially your children, Somebody sent me this. I have never heard of this at all. Do you all know about the online 764 network? I've never heard of that. I was like, what the hell is the 764 network? Clearly 764 is probably an area code, but I've never heard of it. I thought it was like, I was really confused when someone sent it to me. And a lot of these videos, when I get them, I don't watch them all the way through. I may watch them for 20 to 30 seconds and be like, okay, cool. I like what the title is. I see where it's going. This will be something to talk about. This is one I actually watched all the way through because I be honest, I was just fucking confused. This is a cautionary tale for everyone who have children, young people in their family who they care about. Young people are easily influenced, and they have a need, as we all do, even as adults, to want to belong or want to be a part of something. And if you don't have a good relationship or allow your young people in your family, children, nieces, nephews, to have someone they communicate with and they hold things in, it can end up being problematic. You're talking to somebody who, hey, I'm a big proponent of therapy. Unlike, like when I was coming up, therapy ain't nobody talking to nobody about no bullshit. But I'm a big proponent of therapy. Let's go ahead, see what this is about. Parents, if y'all are watching this video, y'all know somebody who got kids. This is actually a real thing. It's a scary thing. Let's dive in.
A warning about a criminal network targeting kids at home. ABC News joined with some of our owned and affiliate stations across the country to investigate the threat. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas is here with what they found. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. The FBI is warning that this new network has a potential national security implication, but also in case after case, directly reaching into American homes, targeting teens and their families. Its name, 764.
Hello. I have placed 2 explosives inside of Rockville High School, okay? And if they fail to detonate, I'm just going to shoot every kid I see, okay?
This call was a hoax, but part of a series of nightmare threats terrorizing Vernon, Connecticut. Investigators determining the threats came from overseas, but with the help of a teenage girl living right in town.
He was doing these threats with her knowledge and with some of her input.
both of them involved in a shadowy online global network called 764, which wants governments toppled and the world in chaos.
This is actually crazy. And I know, like, as somebody who have kids, I know, like, my son, especially my son, my daughter not as much, but my son, when he was in high school, he would come home after he do his work, or hell, if he did his work, but he would be on his laptop, headset on, talking to his friends, and sometimes it'll be broadcast through the speakers and I can hear it. Sometimes but you literally have no clue who people are talking to, who your children are talking to, or when they're even playing online games and shit like that. Real scary stuff.
But which also targets kids on social media and gaming platforms, befriending them before demanding violent and sexual content from them.
They will encourage them sometimes to commit suicide. They will encourage them to do cutting. They will encourage them to harm their pets.
They're using basically psychological warfare on children.
That's right. They gain the trust, and then they continue to build that trust to the point where they have power and the ability to blackmail the child, basically.
The girl thought the hoaxer was her boyfriend, and he convinced her to share pornography and create 764-related content, like this Barbie doll with the group's name written on its forehead.
It was very difficult to process. I wanted to scream, not my child.
ABC News agreed to alter the faces and voices of the parents of the teenage girl.
Before it started, she was a child who was on the honor roll. She had a lot of friends, and then slowly that started to change.
Everybody wants acceptance. Hell, old ass people, young people, it's no different. And I don't know, like sometimes y'all know if y'all got kids, like you can have a kid who going through something and they won't even be comfortable talking with you. You can be the coolest, most understanding, calming person in the world. And to them, their perception is, oh, if I tell them what's wrong or how I feel, they're gonna be mad at me. They're like, I don't know, like it's just how kids are. So hopefully they have someone they can speak with. Me, if I identify anything that's outside of the normal, I would always try to talk to my kids. And I always finish every conversation like, because kids sometimes they're like, nothing. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. But you moping around the house and shit, that drive me crazy. It drive me crazy. But that's why I would be like, yo, if you need somebody to talk to, come on, I'd rather you have a therapist or be able to talk to somebody about something, even if you can't talk to me about it. But the need to feel accepted, kids might feel accepted online, but not accepted every day when they're in school. That shit is actually scary. As a parent, it's one of the scariest things to see your child go from happy-go-lucky good student to an immediate switch, but you don't know why.
When the girl began to resist demands, her family says extortion and threats against her ramped up.
Do we consider her a victim or a participant?
Depending on who you ask, the answer may be different.
So you sometimes have victims who then become subjects themselves because they start to go out and perpetrate acts on behalf of the individual who victimized them.
The FBI tells ABC News in an exclusive interview that it has more than 250 open investigations tied to the 764 network, reaching all 55 field offices across the nation. Nearly a dozen others have already been charged, including a young Arkansas man seen here being arrested on unrelated charges.
Man, this guy's got some weird stuff in his car, bro.
But now pleading guilty to plotting to murder a 14-year-old girl in a separate case when she stopped complying with his demands. Back in Connecticut, the parents of that teenage girl hoping that what happened to her family can be a cautionary tale for others.
If we can help just one family, then it's worth it.
Boy, Pierre, this is such a chilling story right there. So is this name 764 a clue to their motivations?
Well, the origins are in Texas. A 15-year-old boy who lives in an area code with a zip code that begins with 764 helped launch the network. And George, this group is about pain. This group is about terror. It's about bringing about harm to people. There does not seem to be any kind of financial motive that we can see.
And Pierre, interesting what you asked about whether they're victims or participants. This young girl you profiled here, where is she now? How is she doing?
Well, she was arrested and she's making her way through the judicial process. She's cooperating with police. Her parents hope that through the cooperation, she can get her life back and not have her future destroyed. She's in therapy, making her way back, but not fully back.
So what does law enforcement, what do they want parents?
This is fucking crazy. But this is the world we live in. Like a lot of times also when my son was younger, when he was if he's on his computer on his online friends, I'd be like, man, take that fucking headset off. Cause just in case some crazy shit being said online. Same with my daughter. My daughter, sometimes I'd be like, put the headset on because I don't want to hear whatever the hell you and your friends are flapping their gums about. But you know, sometimes that's one thing that a lot of parents do. Like, okay, if you're online on these gaming systems, take the headset off so you can at least hear or get an understanding of the types of conversations that are being had.
So no.
At the end of the day, you have to engage with your children. Keep communicating with them. Know what platforms they're using. And if you see anything suspicious, report it to police.
Boy, this is report. That's such an important report. Thank
you. Yeah. That was in, Maddie, that was in Rockville, Connecticut. But they said over 200 investigations that the FBI has currently on this. Hey, I'm in that world and I've never heard of it. So that's a really big thing. Children are one of the 3 or 4 most vulnerable types of persons on this planet. And let's just be realistic. Even if your kid has signs that something's wrong, not all the time are they going to want to talk to you. Not all the time are you going to be able to know everything that they do? Like, I remember when my son was a little guy, before TikTok was TikTok, what was it called? Was it Musically or Dancely or something like that? And he had like a little Musically account, what evolved into TikTok. And he wasn't doing anything on it. He just on there doing these corny ass dances. And I'm like, it just happened to pop up on my feed. And I'm like, what the hell? And I was like for years, I was like, no, you can't have a social media account until, I don't know, what was my son in 7th or 8th grade when I finally have a social media account? But he probably had a secret one, just like the one that I found on that stupid Musically soon to be TikTok account. But you can't find everything. They aren't going to tell you everything. The best thing that you can do, or what I've tried to do, is just be able to spot and identify when something is wrong, to be able to talk to them. But more importantly, to offer a lifeline to talk to someone else if they don't want to talk to me. I don't really give a damn who you talk to, as long as you talk to somebody about it. That's always kind of been my approach. That's actually one of the more scariest stories that I've done on this channel because it's directly targeted at children. In line with protecting children, this one is another story where it's ridiculous. It's sad. Not as scary as that story, but it's still a terrible story. I'll tell you what my first thought was. I know, ladies, y'all gonna probably, I don't want y'all to think. No, you know what? Let's just go ahead and play it before I tell y'all what my first thought was. Then I'll let y'all ladies judge me. That's what we'll do.
We're hearing from another family that was caught in what police say is a college football recruiting scam. In March, we told you Gainesville police arrested Malcolm Walker.
Now he's being investigated by Gwinnett County Police as well. NewsNet reporter Eric Mock spoke exclusively to a family who says Walker cost them more than money.
Eric is live in Gwinnett County with their story. Eric?
That's right, guys. Imagine you playing football your whole life, and then someone comes along and promises they can pass you a golden opportunity to play at a major college or university, and then you come to find out they never had the ball to begin with. Twin sisters Regina Deloach Ratliff and Renita Deloach host an online show that highlights young athletes in Metro Atlanta called Twin Sports TV.
Hence our slogan, get your game up.
Through their work, they met Malcolm Walker. He promised them he could get Regina's son, Lonnie Ratliff IV, in front of major college coaches, which is why they feel so betrayed.
Has devastated us to just think that.
Now, okay, I got to say this. I don't want to come off as sounding misogynistic, but as soon as I saw this, I said, where the hell is their father, their uncle, their big brother? There's no guy around. I'm going to just be honest. It could happen. A recruiter scam could probably scam a guy, but it's much, much, much less rare. I just don't think if there's someone who has it, I don't know, like if your child is talented, you know what you have to do for them to get noticed? Absolutely nothing. People will break over, they will push their grandmother down a flight of steps to get to your child if your child is talented in absolutely anything. That's the way that college sports work. And I thought I was being wrong. I didn't want to sound misogynistic. So I showed this video and I was telling one of my homegirls about it. And the very first thing she said is, where their father at? Like, it was nobody that they could talk to. This didn't sound right. Let's see how this played out and how it just went from bad to worse.
You would turn around then and jeopardize and have my son lose his scholarship.
The sisters say Walker convinced them to have Lonnie enter the transfer portal after last season, thereby forfeiting his scholarship to Mercer University, with the promise he could get him noticed by bigger universities.
All right, so y'all know when a student is enrolled in a college, if they want an opportunity to play somewhere else, they can unenroll from that college, put their name into the transfer portal. Now, every school can go look and see what students are available in the transfer portal and make them an offer. The problem is, once you put your name in a transfer portal, you not only lose your spot on the team, you lose your scholarship to go to that school. So that's what the transfer portal is, just so everybody's on the same page.
The promise he could get him noticed by bigger universities. They say Walker sent them screenshots he claimed were text messages with college coaches.
Come on now. The only assurances you have from a big time pro. Yeah, you know what? These are two sisters. I'm sure they saw the movie Boys in the Hood. Ricky was good in football and USC came to his house. Like, they will come out and find you. The only thing that he showed you is evidence of his connections to big time schools who are interested in their son were text messages. And these don't even like, we definitely are holding his spot. Just need confirmation from you guys on your availability. Please, what it say? And he can't write. Please don't this the wrong way. We will still reimburse you upon arrival. Just give me a date so I can get the itinerary emailed quickly, please. See, now that I read this text, this dude finessed them out of money for travel. I can already see what it is. Like, the school will reimburse you. Come on now. I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to sound misogynistic, but like, they should have called the uncle, a brother, a male co-worker. Did they bounce this off of anybody? Because hey, this is just me. I don't know if this is something that men would generally fall for at the same rate. I'm not saying they wouldn't. I'm just saying that it's kind of sketch. And I've seen this from Pop Warner League. I've seen like at Pop Warner League, hey, I've seen parents, mothers of sons who will, hey, for extra playing time, crazy things happen. And I just leave it at that. So I think there were some vulnerabilities there, as these were two women not really understanding the process.
He then asked them to send him money to pay for flights and hotels, but each time they were set to go on a college visit with him,
He was coming up with one excuse after another until it just never happened.
and all they tell Fox 5 they sent Walker a total of,
It's hard to say, but it was close to $6,000.
the pair said they finally asked for their money back after weeks without results. They said he again came back with excuse after excuse for over 3 months.
And then he makes you feel bad about asking for your own money back. Like,
does
that's
do
just small money.
Finally, they reported him to Gwinnett County Police in March. Investigators told me this is one of 2 pending cases they have against Walker, but they also arrested him in 2024 for a different kind of scheme. According to police reports, Walker told victims that he could get them into a fraternity and to pay him dues via Cash App. Investigators say in all he took more than $12,000 from 2 victims.
This dude is absolutely terrible.
I think it's the worst. It's disgusting because we have done youth sports for so many years, and it's just for us to see this happening, and that's why we're speaking out, because we don't want this to happen to anybody.
The twin sisters are urging anyone, coach or parent, if you think you've been scammed by Walker, report it to your local police agency. And Lonnie is still eligible to play college football, but as of now, he doesn't have any other real scholarship offers. For now, reporting in Gwinnett County, Eric Mock, Fox 5 News.
All right.
That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy, and it's terrible. It's terrible. The worst part of this story is the young man is the one that's really suffering for this. So $6,000 ain't shit. Nobody care about the $6,000. They don't care about the $6,000. I'm sure their issue is their son, their nephew doesn't have the ability to play college sports, doesn't have the scholarship, doesn't have the ability to get his education. Like, I don't know. It's terrible, but I get it. We all want to do the things that are in the best interest of our child, but we can't do it with blinders on. Sometimes we got to just sit back and ask, like, does this make sense? If you could get my son in front of recruiters, like, I don't know. Normally, if a big time school is after you, they're going to come to you. They're going to say, hey, we'll cover everything. You just get out here. Here's the ticket. What day this the date? Here, we'll set everything up. You don't have to go hunting. So, like, hopefully he can go to maybe a junior college, a JUCO or something, and play and start his educational process and show his talent and transfer somewhere else. But again, as with the previous story with the young lady, another person who is looked to have an opportunity taken away from them from somebody who tried to take advantage of them, tried to take advantage of the young man's parents. Absolutely crazy, wild story. Now, let's talk about something that is very interesting to me, but it takes a very unique turn. Twerking. Now, we all can be honest. We all, well, I don't know about everybody in the chat, but it's, hey, fellas, we all enjoy, seeing a nice, someone who can, let's just be honest. Let's just be realistic. Even if you're out of the club and there's somebody, you'd be like, man, you just kind of look and glance over. It's something that, like, hey, it is what it is. Hey, if somebody's twerking, you're going to walk and be like, oh, man, that's crazy that they're doing that over there. I was in the gym one day, real story, and I had my headphones on, and I don't know what music I was listening to, but I'm in there working out, like, trying to get the guns together. And all of a sudden, I see literally, this how you know the gym was in the hood. I literally see like 90% of the women all stop working out and they all start twerking. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm just looking around. I'm looking confused. There's another sister over here who got headsets on, headphones on. And I looked at her and went like that. And she looked at me and went like that. I took my headphone off. All I heard was Sexy Red. Pow, 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 pow. The whole gym, well, 90% of the women in the gym started twerking. Yes, it was absolutely crazy, but immediately I stopped my workout and I just started observing, okay? it is what it is. We just gotta be honest, or I just gotta be honest. Let's see. I never got into the twerking scene. It never appealed to me. Hey, I don't know, man. Like, it's an art form. Hey, not every woman knows how to do it. It's an art form. So yeah, like, but I'm an observer. Like, I'm not like a strip club guy, nothing like that. It's just never been my thing. I like, nah, don't touch me. I'm gonna just sit over here. But I'm an observer. That's more my speed. But let's talk about this story. These are two stories. Well, this next story is where twerking goes wrong. I think it's in line with the stories that we talked about, where, especially with the one related to the FBI investigation into this organization targeting teens. People want to do stuff to be accepted. I don't know if you all remember the hyphy music movement with E40, and they had this thing, it was called Ghost Ride the Whip. Ghost Ride the Whip. And people would get out of their car and let their car roll down the street slow and neutral, and then they would be outside the car dancing. And I was like, oh man, that looked cool. But when that came out, I was a little bit younger, a lot of bit younger, but I was like, oh man, that looked cool. Ghost Riding the Whip, dancing to the music. But I never was going to do that because I know I have bad luck. I would try to ghost ride the rip, accidentally lock myself out, the car rolled into a tree, and now I'm out of a car and I look like a dumbass, and I got the video footage to show how dumb I was in that moment. But let's check out this story when twerking goes wrong. It's crazy. It led to someone losing their life. But hey, as with all of these stories, it's a cautionary tale and a lesson that we can learn from it.
New details on a deadly accident involving a St. Louis fire truck. Police say a teen was struck and killed late last night. Our Jordan Burrell spoke to her parents about the tragedy.
Tonight, Nyla Simmons' family and friends are left remembering the teen. They say she was a social butterfly that loved a good time, doing just that last night when she lost her life. Now her parents are asking people to learn from her mistakes and be safe while having fun.
It's terrible.
It was around 11:20 p.m. Saturday night when a night of fun took a tragic turn. Police say an Escalade stopped at a red light at the corner of Shudo and South Compton. Once the truck took the left turn, 18-year-old Nyla Simmons, who was dancing on top of the car, fell off. Moments later, she was hit by a fire truck that was responding to a call.
I know that sounds crazy, but that's insane. Hey, rest in peace to her. Condolences to her family. I don't know. It could have completely been avoided, but I understand because I was 18-year-old. I was an 18-year-old once too, and you do stuff because it's cool. Your friends probably charging you up, putting the battery in your back. You want to be the life of the party. Like, I see exactly how this happened because, like I said, I've been influenced to do stupid stuff when I was that age too. I don't know what the parents said in the beginning. What the news broadcasters said that the parents stated, I think is true. There is a way to have a good time, but do so in a manner that's responsible, in a manner that's going to be the least amount of risk. That caused a lot of wrecks in Houston, Texas. People sitting on their car while they're still in drive. Yeah, but it's the chance. It's one thing to do that and fall off of your vehicle. That can probably happen, but to fall off your vehicle and then in that exact moment you fall off, a damn fire truck is flying by responding to a call. Like it's actually terrible. It's nothing that, and unlike a lot of these cases, this ain't nobody to be mad at. There's nobody to sue. There's nothing. That some shit is just terrible, dumb luck, dumb circumstances with one decision that may or likely have been a bad decision.
Nyla Simmons' parents at a loss for words, trying to describe what happened to their daughter less than 24 hours ago.
And it's a lot of people gonna miss her, but we ain't gonna never be the same.
I'm still in shock right now.
They say Nyla was attending a friend's prom send-off prior to the accident.
We just wanted the best for Nyla. Nyla, the incident, it's just tragic the way she died. But that's what hurt the most, the way she died. When Nyla was out having fun, that's what she liked, having fun, hanging with her friends.
Nyla was the youngest of 5. She graduated from Parkway North High School last year and was set to start cosmetology school at Grabber School of Hair Design on Monday.
I'm highly distraught that I don't get to see what she was going to become.
Her parents say they don't blame her friends. They were just teens being teens.
And that's the thing. Like, that's why I said I understand both sides of it. I could understand, like, if I was 18 and people was ghost riding the whip, I would have probably been out there letting my car roll down the street while I'm doing stupid shit, filming it outside of it, because that's just kind of what you do as kids. So it just was a terrible incident, terrible chain of events too. To fall off the car, then the subsequent issue with the fire truck is like the likelihood of that happening. The likelihood of that happening in that way to allow her to get hit like that is just it. The odds are just like super rare. But I can't even. I don't even know what to say. I'm stuttering. I sound like them as if it was my child because I see both sides of it. It was a dumb decision to do, but they were kids being kids. Kids do stupid shit like that all the time.
Saying no one could have ever guessed that the night would end up with Nyla losing her life.
But we all been young before.
Yes.
We all done did some type of things where it could have ended up bad for us.
The parents wanting everyone to learn from Nyla's mistakes, hoping this incident can stop another teen from doing the same.
And we want all her people and her friends to like take this and like learn from it. Like,
don't get on top of a car, y'all.
Remembering Nyla Simmons as their youngest baby who lit up every room she went into.
Nyla was going to be an entrepreneur. Nyla was going to be great in this world, and it's tragic that she's not here.
Although police say the investigation is still ongoing, everyone involved did stay at the scene and cooperated with police. We will keep you updated on any further information we receive. In studio, Jordan Burrell, First Alert 4.
Okay, now again, that is a terrible story. I agree with you, Maddie. It's sad. I feel bad. All of these stories are terrible stories, cautionary tales that I hope people could get some type of lesson from. The end of that story is something that I want you all to remember. All of the people stayed at the scene until law enforcement and emergency services arrived. I believe it was something like that. I think I'm paraphrasing.
In studio.
Let me see. I want that last statement was important.
Everyone involved did stay at the scene and cooperated with police. We will keep you updated on any further information.
Okay, everyone stayed at the scene and cooperated with the police. Now, this next story, our thumbnail story, is another story where twerking ultimately leads to a death. But we got we got some legal topics here we got to cover because I think this one can result in some criminal charges. Now, I want to lay the foundation out, okay? So what I'm going to do is tell the story, show the news article, and then we're going to go over how this should be investigated, how it will be investigated, and if there is a finding, what potential charges can come from this conduct. So let's lay out the foundation. We have, I think, 6 people in total, okay? We have 2 gentlemen, 4 females. One of the 4 females is the decedent, okay? So everyone is out. They're having a good time. Hey, y'all know how y'all do. When you about to go to a club, you got a pregame at somebody's house. You at somebody's house, y'all, some people may be having a few brews. Y'all listen to some music. Y'all, everybody doing a fit check to make sure everybody fly, all of those things. So they're pre-gaming at the house, these 6 people. They depart to go to their destination so they can have a good time. The 2 gentlemen, they drive in car number 1. Another sister drives alone in car number 2. And car number 3 has the decedent and 2 other females, one of which has known the decedent since the age of 11 or 12, according to reports. So 3 vehicles leaving to head to a party. Car number 1, 2 guys. Car number 2, 1 girl. Car number 3, the decedent and 2 other females, one of which is purportedly a good friend of the decedent. Now, they're driving to head to the destination. As they're driving to head to the destination, according to what we can see by reports, the decedent texts her homeboys who are in the first car and texts, "Hey, the mood or the vibe in this car is off. I wish I would have rode with you all. Something to that effect. So as they're driving, when you're driving and you're following somebody, it's hard to keep the chain together. So at some point, car number 1 and car number 2 separate. It's only car number 3. Car number 3 pulls up, is stopped at a stoplight. Out of nowhere, the decedent gets out of the vehicle, walks around to the front of the vehicle, and decides to twerk on them headlights, as Glorilla say, and starts twerking in front of the vehicle. If she's twerking in front of the vehicle, the driver of the car that she was in just takes off, hits her, drags her. It's a complete and utter mess. There is a video surveillance footage of it. I don't know. I may or may not let it play. YouTube gets kind of funky sometimes. I'll probably let it play through. But that's the general facts of what happened. Now, there's interesting conversations going back and forth on social media. Some discussions of there was some altercation or disagreement between the 3 women, the decedent, and 2 other women who were in the car, all related to this. There's a lot going on social media. That's a general background so we can paint the picture before. Now, let's take a look at this news story, and then we're going to talk about how, but how this is being investigated, what charges could come from it, and more importantly, what lessons can we learn from it. Let's dive in.
Well, new tonight at 11, calls for justice are growing after a Metro Atlanta 25-year-old woman's death 10 days ago.
So it was all captured on video, leading people to share her story all across the internet.
This is Amiya Cunningham. She was with friends on April 26th before she was run over and killed.
Remember, she was supposedly with friends. I don't know about y'all, but I've been seeing stories lately of friends going on trips and vacations and they getting in fights and leaving people fucking stranded and all sorts of goofy shit. That's why I ain't got no friends. If those are friends, I don't need no friends or no enemies, none of that shit. But I think actually these type of stories are common where a friend groups go out, some crazy shit happens, someone ends up deleted or injured, and now everybody's like, oh, what happened? What is the truth? No one knows what's going on.
The internet.
This is Amiya Cunningham. She was with friends on April 26th before she was run over and killed just before midnight. Forest Park police are investigating her death, but no arrests have been made.
11 Alive's Angelina Salcedo is live right now at the Forest Park Police Department tonight. So, Angelina, investigators say no foul play or negligence is at play here, but you actually spoke with her family who says that is not the case.
Yeah, and that is because her friends are saying that the driver of this car actually knew Amiya and allegedly left this scene for a few hours before then coming back. Now, her family too devastated to speak publicly.
Okay, remember the previous story, everybody stayed on the scene. Here, there's conflicting stories, but there's some stories and evidence out there alleging that they left the scene. Nobody stayed after this happened. They just left this poor girl lying in the middle of the street.
After this happened and after losing someone that is just so vibrant. But people are speaking out about this and sharing it, hoping that this leads to justice for a 25-year-old that was taken too soon.
And real quick, I'm just be honest. I don't know. They said no negligence, no foul play. I don't even know how you make that assumption. The fact that it was somebody in the damn driver seat in the vehicle went forward, it's either negligence or foul play. It's one or the other, but it's definitely not any of them. The car didn't just randomly start going forward. I just know, unless you had a self-driving Tesla and you want to blame the car, but I don't think that would actually happen. But I don't know. I don't even know how the law enforcement at this point could say, well, I know how they could say it because there's no hard evidence yet, or they may have evidence and don't want to disclose what it is, but it's either negligence or foul play. It's one or the other. It's definitely not neither of the two, in my personal opinion. Yeah, we did stuff that was like We did crazy stuff at that age, but not like related to like traffic and goofy shit like that. Like, well, nah, I can't say that because as soon as I said that, I thought of a few stories that were probably just as dangerous. Only nobody was out there twerking. All right, let's go ahead, let this play. Yeah, we're gonna let it play through.
Recently, I just reported a story about a young lady named Maya in Atlanta, Georgia.
TikTok after TikTok. You ran that girl over. You're going to jail for life.
People are posting trying to make sense of what happened to Amiya Cunningham. The 25-year-old.
All right, let's take a pause right here. Now, I told y'all we laid the foundation. Let me check something. Let me make this bigger so y'all can see. We laid the foundation. This is what went on. Now, she allegedly, or no, this was actually reported as a fact. She texted the two guys who were in the vehicle ahead of her who lost the convoy, so to speak. But she texted them and said that the vibe is off in this car. One thing that is giving me cause to pause. I'm just thinking from this. I don't know. The facts are still being investigated, but I find it odd. This is just me. You all let me know. If I'm in a car with two people and I text other people and say the vibe is off in this car, and then when we get to a stoplight, I'm gonna just be honest, it's very rarely that I'm gonna be like, oh man, the vibe is off. Let me liven everybody up. Let me get out of the car and start sea walking in front of the car. That'll get everybody in a good mood. I don't know the circumstances that led up to her getting out of the vehicle, trying to bust it open in front of the car. If you had to ask what would be my educational guess, if I'm taking it at just what is your hypothesis on how could she go from sending a text telling somebody the mood and the vibe is off in the car, and then seconds later when they stop at a light, she get out and trying to twerk? Well, it could be one of two things. She's either the life of the party and she's trying to liven everybody up, or the alternative, which would be more nefarious, is the people in the car gassed her up to go out and do that. I think the latter is actually more probable than the former. I think it's more likely that, hey, girl, you know what you should do while we at this headlight, like while we at this stoplight, you should get out, go and dance. Yeah, like that's what I'm thinking. Cause she twerking, I don't think she's twerking to nothing. I'm sure the music is playing. The music is probably loud. I don't know. It's a disconnect between sending that text message saying it's uncomfortable in this damn car to immediately getting out. I'm guessing that maybe they charged her up so she can go out there and do that. But that's just my thought. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's see it. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I agree. Whoever we was with, we had to make sure we all made it back.
Killed after getting hit by a car at 11:44 at night on April 26th.
Say, this is Maya. Maya then got out the car and walked to the front. Maya's twerking. They run her over.
Friends who were with her that night say the group she was with pre-gamed at someone's house before they decided to go out. An issue between her and another girl happened before they all left in 3 separate cars.
Okay, so that's a corroborated fact. An issue between her and another girl. I'm gonna guess this other girl is definitely in the car with him and likely the driver. I'm assuming. We don't know. This is just my hypothesis because facts are developing.
During this ride, Maya even texts her friend T. The vibe was off and that she should have rolled with him. So her intuition was already telling her something right.
That car with her friend missed the exit, leaving Amiya in a car with 2 other girls and the girl she had an issue with in the black car ahead of them.
Maya.
Okay, so the girl she had an issue with is the individual who's in the solo car who's ahead of them. Tracking.
Caught herself having a night out with some girls she thought were her friends.
This is the intersection where both of the cars ended up here at Forest Parkway and Frontage Road. Amiya got out of the car and started dancing in front of that car. This was all caught on camera here on the GDOT cameras.
There's a car behind them that turns with them. You see Maya's body like this. They keep going. There's a second car that goes and they stopped. Maya died last night.
Now, Forest Park Police did put out a statement right after this happened about what happened that night. I'm told that it was taken down out of respect for the family, but the investigation into what happened that night is still ongoing. Now, we will continue to check in to see if any arrests are being made in this case. And we, of course, will continue following up with Amaya's family as well. We're live tonight in Forest Park. Angelina Salcido, 11 Alive News.
Yeah, very complicated situation right here, Angelina. Thank you. By the way, Amaya's family is raising money to help with her funeral costs, any other future legal costs as well. So if you'd like to help out, we have a link to this story on our website at 11alive.com.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let me see. Let's rewind this back real quick. Let's go ahead. All right, so let's talk about this. I'm gonna just be honest. Like, I don't know. I don't know how this, like, nothing that was done here in this video, and they did a good job where they stopped right before the impact, but they showed this black vehicle that we could see on screen right here. They showed this black vehicle being further up the road, well into the turn. By that time, rest in peace, this young lady was already underneath the damn vehicle as the vehicle was up here. There's no conduct, and let's, I guess, generally that's not the conduct of someone. When you hit someone, not all the time, but most of the times, if you're driving a vehicle and you hit someone or you come into close contact with someone, your actual initial reaction is to slam on the damn brake. So that's generally. Now, I'm not saying some people can panic and spaz out and, oh God, and may hit the gas and keep going. But generally, for most people who've been driving for a while, when they're about to do something that they don't want to do, their initial reaction is just to immediately slam onto the damn brake. So it's, I don't know, it's a little wild to just kind of look at. So there's a few things here, and I'm interested to see where this investigation goes. The young lady she got in an altercation with was not one of the persons who were in the car with her. That young lady was in the vehicle, apparently in front of them. But there's a few ways that this can go. And I just looked at Georgia. I wanted to look at their laws to see how this is done. It can be one or two things to me. This is just how I'm reading this. We're going to go through all of them. It could either be this. I think it can only be two, but I'm going to read all four. All right, in Georgia, they're first degree or malice murder. This involves unlawfully and intentionally killing another person with malice aforethought, either express or implied. Express malice is deliberate intent to take a life, while implied malice suggests a dangerous state of mind that could be reasonably expected to cause death. I don't know. If someone is in front of you and you hit the gas, depending on the facts and circumstances, I'm not saying it was intentional at this point, but depending what the investigation yields, hey, I don't know. Was the young lady driving her friend and also the friend of the young woman who Amiya got into this confrontation with before they were ready to head to go party? It's a valid question. We got to know the answer to. But malice murder, or in some places, first degree murder, is definitely on the table. Potentially on the table. Could be an option. All right, second degree murder in Georgia. Georgia also has second-degree murder classification, punishable by a prison term of 10 to 30 years. This typically is used where there is a lack of malice or intent to kill. I'm just going to be honest. I think this one is actually much more difficult than the first degree or the malice murder. Intent can be implied. If I can't hit you in the head with a baseball bat and say, "Oh, I didn't intend to kill you." No, it can be implied. The fact that I'm swinging a damn wooden baseball bat at your skull, yeah, you can imply intent just by the conduct. The fact that I'm swinging this thing at your skull means that there's definitely an intent to jack you up big time, potentially kill you. I think the same argument could be made with this vehicle. So I don't think second degree murder is as strong. Like this was either one or two things. It was either done to me intentionally, either expressed or implied, or it was an involuntary accident that led to death. It's one of the two. All right, voluntary manslaughter, I don't think would apply. Voluntary manslaughter in Georgia occurs when a person intentionally kills another, but the killing is done under the influence of a sudden and violent passion caused by serious provocation. This passion must be sufficient to excite such passion in a reasonable person. Punishment, a felony with penalties ranging from 1 to 20 years. Definitely not applicable. Okay. I don't know. Definitely not applicable to me. I don't. No, it's nothing. No heat of passion or event here that could have led to a reaction that would have caused this loss of life. So I don't think that's in play. The last one, which it could potentially be, involuntary manslaughter in Georgia occurs when the death of another person is caused without the intent to kill through either an unlawful act, the killing results from committing an unlawful act other than the felony, or a lawful act in an unlawful manner. The killing results from performing a unlawful act in an unlawful manner, a lawful act in an unlawful manner that is likely to cause death or great bodily harm. So I think just with what we have right now, again, this investigation is ongoing. They got to do some interviews. They got to talk to more people. I think with just what we have right now, had it been me and I'd been the prosecutor, the driver of that vehicle would be looking at an involuntary manslaughter charge at a minimum. The death of another person caused without intent through the lawful act, which driving is a lawful act, but it was done in an unlawful manner. Again, what's the unlawful manner? You're driving a damn vehicle. You have to yield to a pedestrian. Whether she was right or wrong for twerking, one thing she was when I saw that video in the goddamn crosswalk. The killing results from performing a lawful act in an unlawful manner that's likely to cause death or great bodily harm. So I do think that charges should have been brought here. I think it should have been an involuntary manslaughter charge at this. I don't think there's enough to increase it, but I do think at a bare minimum, someone died while you were doing something lawful in an unlawful manner that resulted in a death. I think that's just obvious from the facts that we have before us. I think the biggest takeaway from this story right here is, and I don't know, have y'all ever had like I don't know, you got to be careful with who you decide to associate with, who you call your friends. Friends are like seasons. They're meant to be in our life for a certain time. And once that time has expired, you may move on. They may move on. They were there in your life for a certain reason, to teach you something, to show you something, to give you something. And I can remember personally being in a situation where I had a friend that I known since forever, maybe like 8th grade at least. And, as you get older and people go and do your separate things, and, people move and come back. And it was just a weird, relationship. It just wasn't like the same friendship. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't the same friendship. And rather than trying to force that friendship, you have to just realize, like, you know what? We don't have as much in common anymore. We kind of grew into different things. So it kind of ran its course. But I think the cautionary tale is you have to be careful with who you allow to see you in a vulnerable position, or who you decide to place yourself in a vulnerable position in front of. Putting yourself in front of a person's vehicle, it sound cool. I get it. These guys were young, but that's fucking dangerous. And I don't know about y'all, but I come from a time and a place where like people you think may be your ride or die, they like the pregame and you have a couple drinks and they over there not drinking shit. You over there drinking everything because they want you to be a little off your game so they could potentially tighten you up a little bit later. Like people have those types of ill intent. I'm not saying that's the case here, but what I am saying in this case, I think that there's enough to actually charge somebody with involuntary manslaughter. The investigation may lead to a superseding indictment. I think it could go from involuntary manslaughter up to murder one, or what do they call it? Malice murder in Georgia. That's kind of my opinion and take on it. But all of these stories today were terrible stories where, again, we got to allow ourselves to have our head on the swivel, even when we're around people that we're comfortable with. And your body will let you know. There was a reason she sent a text message saying, yo, the vibe is off in this car. Like, hey, your body, the man above will give you a signal when shit ain't right, when something's going wrong. We just have to listen to that signal because you will hear it. It'll be loud and clear too. Let's see. Let me check out these comments real quick. I know, man. I did so much stupid stuff. Act crazy. I was just telling somebody a story today about when I was doing knucklehead stuff and I got stabbed when I was a young man. Well, it would depend. Okay, because that's actually a good question. Shout out to you, Maui. That was actually a damn good question. And I shout out to your new profile picture too. Did you change it? I feel like that. I was like, wait, that's a model-esque going on right there. But that's actually a great question. There could be some civil liability here. It would depend. I'm about to look it up. It would depend what kind of jurisdiction we are in. In Georgia, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so yes, there could be some civil liability here. Let's take the criminal aspect out of it. Great question. Thank you for asking it. You could have a negligence cause of action. You could say, hey, I'm suing the driver because the driver acted negligence. There was clearly someone in front of her. You had a duty of care to conduct yourself in a manner that a reasonable, prudent person would have. And a reasonable person wouldn't have stepped on the damn gas and hit their friend in front of them. So yes, there is negligence here, but Georgia is a contributory negligence state. Contributory negligence, Georgia uses a contributory negligence law to determine how fault is shared in personal injury cases, including car accident claims. This rule helps decide the amount of damages a plaintiff can recover based on their level of responsibility. Now, there are a couple of models of contributory negligence. So, one model is, let's say it's a portion, let's say a jury looked at this case and said, well, the girl who got out of the vehicle, let's say a jury looked at this and said, the girl who got out of the vehicle, she was in the walkway, technically, in the walkway. She backed pretty far too, right by the line where you need to stop at, damn near. So, but let's say a jury looked at this and said the decedent is 15% negligent and the driver is 85% negligent. that's how the damages would be apportioned. That's one model. The jury determines what percentage of fault each party assumes, and their financial obligation is based on that. But then you have some contributory negligence states that says if the plaintiff, which would be the decedent's family, the decedent in this case is 50% at fault, it's a wash. Nobody gets nothing. It's just dumb luck. So they got a couple of models to determine what type of contributory jurisdiction it is, but there could be some potential recovery here. That was a great question. Could be some recovery here. It is a contributory negligence state. It just depends on what type. It could be each person is responsible for their percentage of the fault. It could be a contributory negligence state where if the deceased is 50% at fault, there's no recovery. Some states have, if the deceased is at fault it bars the recovery. It just depends on what it is. Let me see if I can find what Georgia is real quick. Let's see real quick. The text of Georgia's contributory negligence law, this statute states that a legal action against a party for personal injury, which the plaintiff is partly responsible for the injury, the courts will determine the plaintiff's percentage of fault. Then the judge will reduce the amount of the plaintiff's award damages in proportion to the plaintiff's percentage fault. In pure comparative negligence states, a plaintiff may be 99% at fault for injuries and still recover 1% of compensation. Georgia law, however, follows the modified comparative negligence rule. A plaintiff may only be eligible for compensation if he or she is 49% or less at fault for damages cited. If the court finds the plaintiff is 50% or more at fault, he or she will lose the right to any recovery. Okay. All right. So, yeah, it's a modified comparative jurisdiction. The plaintiff, the person who is actually suing, the decedent's family, may only be eligible to get compensation if they are 49% or less responsible. So like I said, if they're 50% at fault, if people looked at this and said, hey, I think y'all were halfway at fault, she was halfway at fault, it's a wrap. It's going to be nothing to have here. And I don't know. How would I fault this? How would y'all apportion the fault in this? Like, let's say it wasn't any intent there. We're just saying that the driver was negligent, but how much fault would you apportion to the twerker and to the driver? I'm going to be honest. I think I got to give the driver way more fault here than the twerker. You're the driver. She got out of your car. So you knew she was getting out of your car to go stand in front of the shit. That's just how I look at it. Now, it would be different if the car was parked, the light turned green, and some guy ran across the street. Now I'm like, yeah, but no, she literally got out of your car. I'm sure there was some conversation about busting it wide open in front of your car. So I would probably, I'm looking at this like, I don't know. 85-15 maybe? 90-10? Yeah, I agree with that, Tony. Apparently, according to the report, the young lady she had the problem with was in the vehicle in front of her. So that young lady drove by herself, and she had these two girls in the car. But I don't know what the relationship was, or we don't know at this time what the relationship was between the two women in the car with the decedent and their relationship to the sister in the other car, who was the person who the decedent had the beef with. But I agree, man. If shit is feeling shady, try to get yourself out of this situation. I'm gonna go with 85-15. Just looking at this, I think the twerker is 15% at fault. I think the driver is 85% at fault. I doubt if the driver have anything to recover. The driver probably, these kids, these like young kids, you know, when you're young, early 20s, you don't have shit like that to like sue and get what. But it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna keep tabs on this story to see how it play out. But you know, again, all of these stories were actually terrible. Keep your head on the swivel. Try to make sure you can have communications with your children, your loved one. And if they don't want to talk to you, encourage them to talk to somebody else. I don't care if it's the therapist at the school. They have free therapy programs that you all can get. Like, being able to have someone to talk to is always a big help, even if that person isn't you. Talking to anybody can do something. So, yo, that's it for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed this content. I hope y'all got something out of it. I'm gonna make sure I do one happy story from now on. Like, that's kind of dark. Ugh. Gotta shake it off and go watch a comedy or something. I'm gonna make sure I throw one upbeat story in. If I got 4 crazy stories, I'm gonna throw one upbeat story in just for GP to neutralize some of the downtime. That's it. Yo, as always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm grateful for everybody who watches, who subscribes, who comments, who emails me. A big shout out and salute to the channel members for going the extra mile. Thank you. Y'all have a good one. Y'all be safe. Be blessed. Enjoy your weekend. Somebody ready to go outside. Y'all take care. Peace.